Well, hello everyone. Happy Throwback Thursday, and the rotation leads us to a Bionicle review, and this one's on Tuma and Fero and Skirmix from 2009. So, starting out with Tuma here, which from first glance does have some similar things to the Skrulls, since obviously it is leader of the Skrulls. Well, odd thing is that the Skrulls had black and red, but he has black and lime green, which well, probably to signify being a leader for that. And also, same with size as well. So now, as for the feet here, which are a bit more unique than previous Titans and all, well, which as you see does have the Abatoran feet now in black, and also the Marinui Matoran Electro Blades in lime green, which all new to this set, and also like previous Titan sets, extra little Technic bits in the back to store the hand connectors that hold the leg pistons, since they're still being used often at this point. Well, until Fire Lord in Hero Factory 2.0, that is. And then the lower limbs, which are just Roxy limbs in black, of course. And then as for the upper limbs, that are still being used with the D shaped Technic beams that there are, and does have the spiky and Nika feet as from Gresh at this time, but used as like knee pads, of course. But although it does kind of give a bit of like extra height to him, of course. And then on the back side of which, and then far back are the new Gatori neck pieces, which are new pieces at this time, and also which do have the double-sided connector piece. Is for that, just to give extra loft to him. Just like we have with Makuta Icarax and Takanuva the 2 years prior, and also then carried on to Rotor and Von Epula the following year. Well, in Hero Factory, that is. And then as for the main body part, which is just a few extra Technic bits in it. Hang on a sec. Okay, which is just a few Technic beams holding a Tometru waist part, and then also upwards holding a Nika torso piece in there. Obviously, since it was being used a lot in this year for that. And then the chest plate, which is a finned Paraka foot on there, just like we had with Hydraxon in 2 years prior to that. But obviously, the torso build, obviously kind of similar to Hydraxon's, but without the many tubes in it, of course. But then onto the back side of it, and do have these like bent Avatar limbs to hold the arms in as extra stability. Since obviously it wasn't until a few years later when friction joints were introduced to stabilize that. Well, starting with Black Phantom in Hero Factory Breakout, of course, and then onto these big things, fin-like things on his back, which are just 4 of the new Skrull blades in lime green, which we'll also see on Fero, and then carry on to Skrull Stars the following year. And they can just twist up and down like so, and then kind of deepwards in there, like this part right there, which is a T-shaped Technic beam, which holding them together, which first set and first year to have that piece in it, of course. But then also on these fin parts are 2 life counters, since of course there was another version of the figure game that on which you'll see on all the vehicle sets where they had 2 life counters to them, since doubling the power of them, obviously. But then as for the arms of which are mostly a standard Viscerac limb and some Technic bits to them, and then also the Baraki Mantax feet in lime green for that, which great to use for mocking. Another Roxy limb, and then the new hand pieces in lime green, which nice first time there. And then also do have Brutaka's sword piece, but in black, which great to use for mocking, and also only other color that it ever came in. So even though the years prior it was mostly in silver, but this first time in black, and kind of neat then. And then the Hilta, which is just a Marinium Matoran blade, of course. And then other armor, which just perfect symmetry to that, but instead of another blade, it's in just the Thornax launcher, which was the common launcher at this time that launches like that. But in the Legend Reborn movie, instead had the same shield piece that the scroll has, but with green on it. I was not sure why they didn't include that for this set. Well, unlike even though you can just pop it off the scroll and put it on, or at least paint it in green to match with him. But yeah. And then lastly is for the head neck area is kind of just a Metru arm piece for the neck, and then take the helmet off, and then just the standard head piece for the time, and then the helmet here, which kind of unique built to it. Like, do you have these fin parts, which are kind of like same with Explode the villain in Hero Factory the following year, but also has three-prong rock chin to it and kind of rock texture around it. And then also on both of these fin parts and the top part are all stickers, which first time Bionicle ever had stickers in them. Well, until but then Hero Factory the following year also kind of did that. And of course, we did get stickers on sets quite once or twice in Generation 2 as well. And so now I guess that is about it with Tuma here. And now on to Fero and Skirmix, starting out with Fero, which standard build as all the Agori and Afmatoran, and of course, same pieces and everything, and same helmet piece as Scrawl also has, and then same sword piece as Tuma and the Scrawl and Dactycus all had for that, since they're all Rock Tribe Bone Hunter related. And then weird thing with Fero here is how he has the traditional hand pieces instead of the all-new fisted hand pieces for this year. Well, maybe because this set was a special edition set and just didn't want to go very far with it or whatever. Well, if that's the case, then I'm sure your guess is as good as mine. And then the other is just a traditional Thornax launcher there. Then the backside, which is this little Technic connector part to it, which connects onto Skirmix, which I'll show in a bit. And then I guess that is about it with Fero here. And now on to Skirmix here. Or at least a Skirmix, since there's multiples of these, or of it. Since storyline-wise, these which are what's called rock steeds, which are the kind of ones that bone hunters ride on, of course. And from first glance, built kind of similarly to a Tyrannosaurus Rex type dinosaur, but with a crown part making it more dragon-like, if you can say that. And of course, this, although kind of a callback to Kodak and Godok in 2002. And of course, and also, one part of the Bionicle storyline that was never revealed but quite mentioned was the neighboring planet of Bara Magna, Boda Magna, which had dinosaur inhabitants to that. Although wouldn't, but of course y'all can kind of make that as mocks if you wanted. But yeah. So first off, for the feet here, which are just the finned Paraka feet in silver for that, like we saw on Hydraxon and Gadunka 2 years earlier, and also the Marinui Matoran daggers as kind of back spurs or whatever, and then again the leg pistons like other Titans at this time, and also the rock limbs in dark red, of course, and then have these like connector parts still used from the Slicer slash Throwbots. Well, until this time, and then until first wave of Hero Factory the following year, of course. And then, unlike with most Titan sets, where the Technic beam that is on the front of the legs, this one doesn't have any of that on it. So there were armor pieces added onto it anyways, like probably like Paraka armor or something, or even black scroll armor or some or whatever, which I'm sure you can add that on if you wanted. Then in the front part back of that are these Metromatoran limb pieces and the other kind of pieces to it, just to add in some extra stabilization to there. Which on the back side for that, and are held on by the coat hanger or bracket or bar pieces. And of course, good use of pieces all in there, and then also hand connector with a Roxy limb acting for the tail part, which with a like blade on the end for that. And then upwards, you have this little bit here, or this part is where Fero connects into, which I'll show later, and then it does have the Toametru foot piece, but in dark red, as to make it more finished and complete. And then upwards are Baraki Kama kind of foot pieces, but used for like top armor and bottom armor, but and also have this like life the game life counter, but however it's just one in here, even though most of the other bigger sets usually have two of them. But whereas Zendox V1 and Baranus V7, all of which also have one for that, although in one version of the Bionicle figure game, you're supposed to have two life counters used for that, but I'm not sure why they didn't include that for these ones, but you can just add extras on if you wanted to make it more right then. But yeah. And then also interesting part is does have another Alphatoran body part, but holding the arms and the neck all together for that. So kind of good use of that piece than the limbs of which are the like red Shalmatoran feet from Voltraz the year prior for that, and of course acting as like Tyrannosaurus Rex type of arms then, and just kind of small and not much mobility since these are Alphatoran limbs for that, unless if you can use Hero Factory 2.0 limbs to add in some posability if you wanted. Yeah. Then onto the neck part, or head area, which from first glance is mostly the head part of Fenrak from 2006, but now in dark red of that. So nice recolor that, and then have Gorast and Bittel's foot piece from the year prior, but in dark red, and Gorast and Bittel's claws also in dark red. So a couple of nice recolors for that, but unfortunately, this set comes with just one of both of those pieces. Yes, but if you want to like use them symmetrically in a mock, you'll just have to buy two of them for that. But nowadays you can just buy them separate off Bricklink if you wanted. But yeah. And now to get Fero onto Skirmix here is, if notice the like bit there on the lower back, which connects to that part on the lower back, and slide onto it and just connect on like so. And there it is, nice to ride on. But interesting thing is, in the Legendary Board movie, it was mostly Atticus's that rode on the rock steeds instead of these. Well, even though Atticus was a separate set for that, but you can just, although you can simply place him on if you wanted. Same with Barracks, of course, or Agori Barracks, of course, and also in one graphic novel, of which there was a Skirmix here that was in all lime green and being rode by Tuma, of course. Although I'm sure some of you can like make your own lime green Skirmix to do so as well. Well, just a thought, but yeah. Okay. And so now on to the final verdict. So overall, I think these are which are quite good sets, or quite cool sets for how they are. Like, do get some nice recolors of pieces in both dark red and lime green, of course, and also nice to have, but also a good choice of a leader type of character for a Titan set, which kind of like the main villain sets in Hero Factory, of course. And also, but like for the $20 that they both were back in 2009, I say still quite good for how they are. Even though for some $20 sets end up quite smaller than, or especially the few of the Tuma in Generation 2 that were quite small then, or were kind of almost as large and were the same price points, but these of which were a sign of the times. And also, and then what else? Although too bad that Tuma could have had a shield piece like Squall's, but that was in lime green. But I'm sure some of you mockers could figure that out if you wanted. But yeah, and once again, still great, few great recolors, which like the Fenrak headpiece for Skirmix, obviously, and also plenty of lime green on Tuma, of course. But however, still kind of good for how they are. But however, I can still kind of forgive how they are nowadays. But yeah, but at least they which did hold up well over the years. But yeah, and also it would have been nice if Skirmix had like top teeth added into that, and bump it up a few extra pieces. As for that, but that's just me. But yeah, and also wish could have had an extra life counter on Fero's back for that, so you can have like extra life counts for the game if you do play the game. But yeah, but however, I can still kind of forgive how they are. But yeah. And now, if any of you still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who haven't and are still looking to get these sets, I'd say definitely pick them up. eBay, Bricklink, Bricari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that is it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.